You know what's heartbreaking? Millions of people wake up every single morning believing they did everything right. They worked hard, they paid their premiums, they trusted the system. They believed that if something terrible ever happened to them or the people they love, insurance would be there to catch them when they fell. And then one phone call changes everything: a cancer diagnosis, a surgery, a hospital visit, a prescription they suddenly can't afford. And that's when people discover the truth nobody warned them about. The insurance card sitting in their wallet, it doesn't always protect them the way they thought it would. Across this country, families are going broke while holding good insurance. Think about how insane that sounds. People are paying thousands every year for protection, yet one emergency can still wipe out their savings, destroy their retirement, and force them into debt they may never escape. And the worst part? Most people don't even realize the trap exists until they're already inside it. They find out about deductibles after the bill arrives. They learn about coverage limits when treatment gets denied. They hear words like out of network, prior authorization, and not medically necessary while they're sitting terrified in a hospital room trying to save someone they love. That's not security. That's fear with paperwork attached to it. And right now, millions of older Americans are being pushed into situations they never imagined. People in their 70s, their 80s, still working, still driving deliveries, still choosing between medicine and groceries, not because they're lazy, not because they failed, but because the system they trusted keeps moving the goalposts. You see politicians arguing on television. You see insurance companies posting record profits. But behind all of that noise are real human beings lying awake at night, wondering how they're going to survive one more medical bill. And maybe the scariest part of all is this: a lot of people watching right now are far closer to this situation than they think, because insurance companies don't make money when you fully understand the system. They make money when people are confused, overwhelmed, exhausted, and desperate. They count on people not reading the fine print. They count on people assuming everything will be okay, until it isn't. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the biggest financial traps hurting ordinary families right now. We're going to talk about the tricks, the loopholes, the hidden dangers, and the painful mistakes that are costing people their life savings. Because the goal here is simple. If you understand the game before the crisis comes, you have a chance to protect yourself, your family, and your future before it's too late. There are millions of hardworking people out there who truly believe they are doing everything the right way. They wake up early, work long hours, pay their insurance bills every single month, and trust that one day, if life gets hard, that insurance card will protect them. That's what they were promised. That's what they were told their entire lives. Work hard, stay responsible, pay into the system, and you'll be safe when an emergency comes. But for so many families, reality hits like a storm they never saw coming. One hospital visit changes everything. One surgery, one serious diagnosis, one accident. Suddenly, the bills start pouring in faster than they can breathe. People who spent decades building savings watch it disappear in months. Retired couples who dreamed about peace and comfort are forced back to work. Parents stay awake all night, terrified of opening another envelope in the mail because they already know it contains another impossible bill. And the heartbreaking part is this is happening to good people, honest people, people who trusted the system because they thought the system would protect them. Instead, they discover hidden costs, denied claims, confusing rules, and endless stress at the exact moment they are already emotionally broken. That fear is becoming normal for millions of families, and deep down, people are starting to realize something painful. The protection they believed in may not be protecting them at all. The system looks comforting from the outside. The commercials are smiling. The promises sound powerful. Everywhere you look, insurance companies tell people they are protected, covered, and secure. Families carry those insurance cards in their wallets, believing they have built a safety net for the people they love. They think that if a disaster ever comes, someone will be there to help them stand back up again. But then real life happens. A husband gets sick, a mother needs surgery, A child needs emergency treatment, and suddenly families discover that the protection they trusted comes with walls, conditions, loopholes, and hidden rules they never fully understood before. In the middle of fear and pain, people are forced to argue over paperwork, approvals, networks, and bills that seem to grow overnight. Imagine sitting beside someone you love in a hospital room while your phone keeps ringing with payment demands. Imagine hearing doctors say one thing while insurance companies say another. That pressure crushes people emotionally. It steals sleep. It steals peace. It steals the feeling of security families work their whole lives trying to build. And millions of people are quietly carrying this burden right now. They smile in public while privately wondering how much longer they can survive financially. They thought insurance meant protection. Instead, many are discovering it sometimes feels like a maze built to confuse exhausted people during the hardest moments of their lives. Fear changes people. You can see it in their eyes when the medical bills start arriving faster than they can pay them. You can hear it in their voices when they say they are fine, even though deep down they are terrified. Millions of families are living with that fear every single day, and the worst part is that most of them never expected it to happen to them. Nobody plans for a financial disaster caused by illness. Nobody wakes up thinking one emergency could destroy everything they spent decades building. People save money their entire lives hoping retirement will finally bring peace, comfort, and time with family. But instead, many are being pulled into stress, debt, and uncertainty during the years that were supposed to be their happiest. One serious health problem can drain a savings account in months. Suddenly, people are choosing between paying for treatment or paying for basic living expenses. Some skip medications because the cost is too high. Some go back to work even when their bodies are exhausted. Some stay awake at night wondering if they will leave their loved ones drowning in debt after they are gone. That kind of fear is heavy. It breaks confidence. It makes people feel trapped and powerless. But what makes this situation even more heartbreaking is that many families believed insurance would prevent this exact nightmare. They thought they were prepared. They thought they were safe. Then reality hit harder than they ever imagined possible. There was a time when people believed retirement meant freedom. After decades of working, struggling, sacrificing, and raising families, they imagined peaceful mornings, time with grandchildren, small vacations, laughter, and finally being able to breathe without constant pressure. People spent their entire lives chasing that moment. They earned it, they deserved it, but for millions of older Americans, that dream is disappearing right in front of their eyes. Today, people in their 70s and 80s are still working because they have no other choice. You see them driving deliveries, standing behind cash registers, cleaning buildings late at night, and pushing themselves through exhaustion just to survive another month. These are not lazy people. These are people who already worked hard their whole lives. Many of them thought insurance and retirement savings would protect them when they got older. Instead, one illness or one medical crisis changed everything. Imagine spending 40 or 50 years paying into a system only to realize you still cannot afford to be sick. Imagine reaching an age where you should feel safe, but instead you feel fear every time the phone rings or another bill arrives in the mailbox. That emotional weight is crushing families every single day, and still, many people stay silent about it because they feel embarrassed or ashamed. But there is nothing shameful about struggling in a system that has become too confusing and too expensive for ordinary, hardworking people to survive comfortably anymore. Most people think the hardest part of a medical crisis is the illness itself. They believe the battle is against cancer, surgery, pain, or recovery. But for millions of families, another battle begins the moment insurance companies get involved. Suddenly, people are not only fighting for their health, they are fighting paperwork, phone calls, approvals, denials, and confusing rules that seem impossible to understand. Families already carrying emotional pain are forced to spend hours arguing with strangers over what will or will not be covered. A doctor says a treatment is necessary. The insurance company says it needs more review. A patient needs medication immediately. The insurance company delays approval. Every delay creates fear. Every rejection creates stress. And while families are desperately trying to save someone they love, they feel trapped inside a system that treats them like numbers instead of human beings. That is what makes people so angry. Many families did exactly what they were told to do. They paid premiums for years. They trusted the promises. They believed insurance existed to help them during the worst moments of life. But when the emergency finally comes, they discover hidden limits, giant bills, and endless obstacles standing in their way. And the emotional damage goes far beyond money. It steals hope. It steals peace of mind. It makes people feel helpless at the exact moment they need strength the most. Millions of ordinary people are carrying this burden silently every single day. For so many people, having insurance feels like having protection. The moment they receive that card in the mail, they breathe easier. They believe they are covered. They believe they are safe. They think if an emergency ever happens, the system they paid into for years will step in and help carry the weight. That belief gives families comfort. It gives them confidence to move forward with life. But then reality crashes into them without warning. A medical emergency happens, and suddenly people discover that covered does not always mean protected. Bills begin stacking up everywhere. Deductibles appear. Co-pays grow larger and larger. Treatments are questioned. Medications cost more than expected. Families hear confusing terms they never paid attention to before because nobody explained how dangerous those hidden details could become. And that moment changes everything emotionally. People begin to feel betrayed because they realize they trusted something they never fully understood. They start asking themselves painful questions. How can I owe this much if I have insurance? Why am I paying so much every month if I still can't afford treatment? How did this happen to us? Those questions are being asked in millions of homes right now. Hardworking people who spent years trying to be responsible suddenly feel like the ground beneath them is disappearing. They are not reckless people. They are ordinary families trying to survive in a system so complicated that even smart, careful people struggle to understand it before it's too late. People are finally starting to wake up. For years, many families believed that if they stayed quiet, worked hard, and trusted the system, everything would somehow work out in the end. They believed the people in power would protect ordinary citizens during the hardest moments of life. But now, millions are realizing they cannot afford to stay uninformed anymore, because this problem is bigger than just medical bills. This is about protecting your future, your family, your peace of mind, and the life you spent decades building with sacrifice and hard work. Every day, people are discovering painful truths too late. They are learning about hidden costs after their savings disappear. They are learning about denied claims after treatment begins. They are learning about loopholes while sitting under crushing stress and fear. And that is why knowledge matters more now than ever before. The people who understand how the system works have a better chance of protecting themselves before disaster strikes. They ask questions earlier, they prepare earlier, they make smarter choices before they are forced into survival mode. That preparation can change everything for a family facing a crisis. This is not about fear alone. It is about awareness. It is about refusing to walk blindly into financial traps that destroy millions of lives every single year. Families deserve honesty. They deserve clarity. They deserve the chance to fight for their future before one unexpected emergency changes everything they worked so hard to build.